Good morning. I'm Jeff Rubin, president of the Pinole Historical Society. The Society is proud to present the 14th Veterans Day Memorial and Flag Retirement Ceremony. We gather here every year at the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, to commemorate the signing of the armistice that ended World War I, the Great War, which was signed on November 11th, 1918. I'd like to offer a little history of this day, especially for the young people in the audience. Veterans Day originated as Armistice Day on November 11th, 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. Congress passed a resolution in 1926 for an annual observance, and November 11th became a national holiday, beginning in 1938. Unlike Memorial Day, Veterans Day pays tribute to all American veterans, living or dead, but especially gives thanks to living veterans who served their country honorably during war or peacetime. Thank you to all the veterans who are here with us today. Let's have a round of applause. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower officially changed the name of the holiday from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. In 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Holidays Bill, which moved the celebration of 4 national holidays to Mondays: Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, Columbus Day, and Veterans Day. The law, which went into effect in 1971, moved the celebration of Veterans Day to the 4th Monday in October. According to the United States Department of Defense website, the bill was designed to increase the number of 3-day weekends for federal employees, which was a favorite goal of the travel industry. Officials hoped it would spur travel and other family activities over a long weekend, which would stimulate the economy. However, there was a lot of confusion and discord about the change. Many states were unhappy, and they chose to continue to recognize Veterans Day on November 11th. Within a few years, it became pretty apparent that most U.S. citizens wanted to celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th, since it was a matter of historic and patriotic significance. Veterans Day was removed from the list of always on Monday holidays when it was moved back to its traditional date of November 11th by an act of Congress in 1975 and signed into law by President Gerald Ford. The new law took effect in 1978. The United States is not alone in remembering veterans of World War I and World War II. Great Britain, France, Australia, and Canada also remember veterans of those wars on or near November 11th. Canada and Australia commemorate Remembrance Day on November 11th. Great Britain also calls it Remembrance Day, but observes it on the Sunday closest to November 11th with parade services and 2 minutes of silence in London to honor those who lost their lives in war. Every Veterans Day and Memorial Day in the United States, Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia holds a memorial service. The cemetery is home to the graves of more than 400,000 people, most of whom served in the military. Please stand as the colors are presented by Pinole Valley High School junior Ethan Normington, and remain standing as the Pinole Valley High School Marching Band and the Pinole Valley High School Concert Choir perform the Star-Spangled Banner, the Contra Costa Girl Scouts recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and St. Joseph School students sing God Bless America.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Vincent Salimi. I'm the mayor of the city of Pinole. I would like to welcome you today to celebrate Veterans Day. Let's face it, my presence in front of you today is very unlikely. I was not born in this country. I was born in Iran in 1980, and my family moved to France when I was 4 years old, and I came here when I was 19, looking for the American dream, an American dream that was only possible because of the sacrifices that the American veterans have been doing in our country, and I'm forever grateful for what they have done. As Jeff Rubin stated earlier, Veterans Day was originally called Armistice Day, and as a matter of fact, in the country where I grew up in France, it's still called Armistice Day. It was first celebrated in 1919, the year we ended World War I. 2 years later, a ceremony was held in the northeast of France, in a town that I've visited many times called Chalon-sur-Marne, a town in the northeast of France. The ceremony basically went and picked up the remains of 4 American soldiers from 4 different American cemeteries in France and put them back together. Those remains were flown back to the United States, and actually the remains are in Arlington National Cemetery since 1921, and This is the remains of the American unknown soldier. I would like to talk about what Armistice Day and what Veterans Day really means to me. We are here really to celebrate our freedom and the liberty that we enjoy, and a lot of countries in the world do not enjoy these liberties. When I grew up in Iran, during the first 4 years of my life, I was in a wartime situation, and on a day-to-day basis, I didn't know if I would survive. I was only 4 years old, but I was hoping every single night, as my town was being bombarded by the airplanes, that I could remain alive. And I learned at a very early age, I was 2, 3 years old, that life is precious. You really need to do something out of your life, enjoy every single day. When I moved to France when I was 4 years old, the notion of armistice really meant something different to me, because I was able to identify myself with the people who did World War II, because France was involved. And I was able to go to the places where the soldier died in Verdun, in east of France. It was not something distant anymore. It was not just something that other people fought for, but something that I was able to identify myself. Later on, when I moved to America, I was the president of the Concord Flying Club, and the Concord Flying Club is the oldest aviation club west of the Mississippi, and I had the honor to be the president of the aviation club, and I had the honor of being with 30 pilots, and many of them veterans pilots who fought for World War I, not World War I, World War II, and many other wars. And they told me their story. They were telling me that some of them fought at 40 missions as a pilot, and some of them were telling me how difficult it was. Before every single mission, they were telling me that nausea, they didn't know if they were going to come back alive, but they were able to come back alive and fight for the liberty that we all enjoy today. Now I'm the mayor of the city of Pinole, and I really try to embrace that diversity that made me a better person, and don't forget where I'm coming from. I'm looking at the wars that we are facing today, and I'm forever thankful for the veterans and the sacrifices, but how can we bring Pinole closer to Veterans Day and celebrating what is happening today? The city of Pinole has been working closely with the Ukrainian government. We met with the Ukrainian government 2 weeks ago. As a matter of fact, we also met them this week. And on Tuesday, at our next city councils, the city of Pinole will be having a discussion on entering into a sister agreement with an Ukrainian city that was bombarded at the very beginning of the war. And this will also bring not only our cities closer, but will also show the significance of liberty and how important Veterans Day is. So by bringing the city of Pinole closer to an Ukrainian city, that will forever join our effort into honoring those veterans. Contra Costa County is the home of nearly 45,000 veterans, including 5 generations of combat and peacetime veterans. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the sacrifices of the people who fought many wars, and that's the reason why I'm here. Veteran, thank you for your service to our nation. Thank you for the sacrifices you made. Thank you for your willingness to serve our country. Thank you for risking your life to maintain our freedom. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to just ask this question when you go tonight and have dinner with your family. What does Veterans Day mean to you? How can you bring it closer to you like I did? Thank you very much. I'm Vincent Salimi, the mayor of the city of Pinole.
I'm Nathaniel Litzia, a senior at Pinole Valley High. And I would like to remind everyone here, ladies and gentlemen, Veterans Day is a day for celebration. Today, we celebrate each and every man and woman who has ever answered the call and worn an American flag on their uniform. That flag only has power because of the selfless human beings behind it. Everyone who served sacrificed something. Maybe it was delayed education, maybe it was long stretches of time away from home, the long nights away from loved ones, missing out on his first steps on her first day of school. Maybe it was that hearing loss that, for some reason, is most definitely not service-related. I like to repeat the idiom that the more actively we seek a life of comfort, the more uncomfortable our lives actively become. Our service members and their willingness to fight the conditions of the most extreme discomfort have likewise made our society actively more resilient. In many other countries around the world, serving in the military is seen as little more than any other job, but not here. The soldier of a democracy has a much more important role. Our democratic system of government, always having existed among a world of opposition, is only made possible by the exceptional men and women who are willing and able to take up arms in its defense. Because the American service member defends more than the Constitution. They defend the very principles of human dignity itself, that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. As a student and a senior at Pinole Valley High, I'm in a unique position. My generation is poised to inherit this democracy, and the question remains whether we'll be up to the task. As this decade looks to be all too unpredictable, I can only hope that we will look to you, veterans, as examples against whom to compare our own coming sacrifices. Rest assured, we will continue your legacy and be courageous caretakers of dignity for every generation of Americans hereafter, on land, at sea, in space, and in cyberspace. I would like to close with a quote from Pericles, an ancient king of Athens, the world's first democracy. He advises his citizens, "Therefore, having judged that to be happy means to be free, and to be free means to be brave, do not shy away from the risks of war." To every soldier, sailor, marine, airman, and guardsman, past, present, and future, on behalf of Pinole Valley High School, thank you for your service.
Good morning. I'm John Joya, and I've been honored to represent Pinole and most of West Contra Costa County on the Contra Costa Board of Supervisors. And I want to start by thanking Nathaniel for his wonderful words. It is so important to have young people be part of this celebration. Will you give him a hand for his thoughtful and meaningful and impactful words? And so I want to start on behalf of the 1.2 million residents who live in Contra Costa County. I want to thank all of the veterans today for your service, for your sacrifice, and for everything you've done to preserve the values of our democracy. That's what this is about. And I want to thank the Pinole Historical Society for sponsoring this event for well over a decade and bringing all of us together. And I really think it's so important to see young people involved in Veterans Day events. I was at an event earlier this morning in El Cerrito where the El Cerrito Lions Club, working with Boys and Girls Clubs, Boys and Girl Scouts, placed flags at the graves of all the veterans at Sunset View Cemetery in El Cerrito. And I think it is important to keep alive the contribution of veterans to young people, and that's why it's so heartening to see all of the young people here today. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of this to the young people. I think what's also really important is not just what we do today to honor veterans, but what we do every day. And that the best way we can show honor and respect to our veterans is how we treat them, how we respect them, and how we support them every day of the year. And I'm proud to say we have so many great community-based organizations and businesses in this county that support and serve veterans all year long. And our own county government has a veteran service office that helps veterans access what they deserve, the benefits and resources when they leave military service. My own father served in the U.S. Army in the 1950s, And he was able, when he got out of the Army, to have his college education paid for. He was able to have help in buying his first and only home in Richmond. He was a high school went back to be a high school civics teacher in Richmond for many years. And I know he always taught about the importance of rights and responsibilities that we have. We enjoy our rights because we exercise responsibility. And our veterans have clearly shown that they have served their responsibilities. So it always saddens me to see when a veteran is homeless, when a veteran is facing challenges. That's unacceptable in our country. So I know that the inspiration we get today is to continue the commitment to our veterans every day of the year, and to help them. So for all of us and you who are not veterans, to do our part to support veterans every day of the year. So a hand and a thanks to all of you, the veterans and their families, because, right, it takes a sacrifice for the whole family. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your service, and we respect you. Thanks.
Veterans Day is a legal holiday dedicated to all American veterans. Whether or not they fought, each veteran who served in the United States Armed Forces should be recognized or remembered on this special day. Today, as we do every year, we honor the service members who once called Pinole home. These men died while serving their country during wartime. 8 service members from World War II, 1939 to 1945. Jim Clark, John Clark, Jack Edwards, Gordon Hughes, Bernardo Fernandez, Edward Hall, Michael Vast, James Wynn. About 16 million Americans served during World War II. According to the United States Department of Veterans Affairs statistics, each day approximately 372 World War II veterans are no longer with us. There was one service member from the Korean War who died during wartime, Harold McCarthy. There was one service member from Pinole who died during the Vietnam War, 1964 to 1975, Ralph McGain, Jr. There's one service member from Pinole who died during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, Sean Silva. These deceased Pinole citizens served in the armed forces: Gene Faria, William Vida, Harold Silvis, Thomas Coutinho, Wesley Owens, Bobby Pierce, Earl Mickey Quinn, Lawrence Leroy Big Red Lefevre, Ed Lefevre, Floyd Lefevre, Mike Geary, Augustine De Silva, Carol Fernandez, Clarence Marcos, Tom Gazzano, Larry Mariero, Don Castro, Gerald Collins, Leonard Smith, Stan Clark. Dr. Joseph Mariotti, Tony Lopes, Anthony Enos, Lee Coburn, Eugene Robbins, William Vogel, Donald Shepard, John B. Clark, Gene Ortega, Malachias Ortega, Earl Getz, Edward Percy, Oscar Carboles, John Gill, Lester Clark, Chester Clark, Gerald Gill, George McKillop, Merle Steele, Dan Skiles, Roel Johansson, Pete Ward, Floyd Price. Thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
That was absolutely beautiful. Let's give Ms. Henry another big hand. So Supervisor Joya, Mayor Salimi, Council Members Toms, Martinez Rubin, Mayor Emeritus Jack Meehan, and Mr. Rubin. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and good morning, Pinole. My name is Benjamin Reyes, and I am currently a Superior Court judge here in Contra Costa County. I am also an Eagle Scout. This is a nod to our troop here that's going to retire our flag soon. I'm the former president of the Alameda Council and the former vice president of the Golden Gate Area Council of the Boy Scouts of America. Before I was appointed to the bench, I had proudly served for 14 years as the city attorney for the city of Pinole, so I am back here in the community that gave me an opportunity to provide service to this community. I'm also a former soldier. When I was 17, I enlisted in the United States Army Reserves out of high school before my first year of college. I attended basic infantry training and training as a combat engineer. At the University of California at Berkeley, I joined the Army ROTC program. I finished this course and was offered a United States Army commission as a second lieutenant. I went to the United States Army Airborne School and received my parachutist badge. An injury interrupted my service, and I entered the reserves and pivoted to law school. Now I wear a different uniform, and I serve in a different capacity. I traded in my battle dress uniform for the black robe of a judicial officer. I don't consider myself a veteran. I do not have a combat service medal or a campaign ribbon. However, it was a great honor for me to serve our country in uniform. I want now to pay tribute to the veterans from a community that I grew up in, veterans that include my own father. And the stories of these veterans were not covered much in our history books, so I want to take a moment to talk about them today. My late father, Benjamin P. Reyes, left the Philippines at a young age, leaving his family behind. Like Mayor Salimi, I was also not born in the United States. I was born in Olongapo City in the Republic of the Philippines. My father came halfway across the world to join the Navy of a foreign land, far away from what was familiar to him. He came seeking adventure and opportunity. Indeed, my father is part of the 30,000 brave young Filipino soldiers and sailors who joined the United States military between 1950 and 1980 to form the third and fourth wave of immigration from the Philippines. He and 30,000 other young men left the Philippines on the promise of great opportunity to live in the United States, to see the world, to advance in a career of service. He was promised skills, technical training, and citizenship. In 1960, at the age of 20, after graduating from college, my father joined the United States Navy and started a new adventure that took him all over this vast world, ultimately visiting all 7 continents on multiple tours of duty during his decorated 30-year career. He rarely spoke about his service, so I'll give you the brief highlights of my father's career that I found in researching his own service record. While on board the United States ship, the USS Enterprise in 1962, my father was deployed to the naval blockade in Cuba and was part of President Kennedy's mission to end the Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1969, he received orders to report to the headquarters of the United States Pacific Fleet in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. He joined the crew of the United States ship Chipola, a supply ship, as she deployed to provide combat service for the Vietnam War. Dad served in 2 campaigns in Vietnam, and like many soldiers and sailors during that era, he was exposed to phenoxy herbicides, commonly known as Agent Orange, which precipitated multiple health issues which burdened him later in life. He also experienced the horrors of war, which he never discussed with us. After returning from Vietnam, Dad was assigned to the USS Ponchatoula, which is another ship in Pearl Harbor. In 1971, while aboard the USS Ponchatoula, Dad deployed to the Apollo 14 recovery mission and was there to witness history when the lunar module splashed down in the South Pacific Sea. He participated in that mission to retrieve astronauts Edgar Mitchell, Alan Shepard Jr., and Stuart Roosa. When my father returned from his mission, he was assigned to the commander of the Pacific Fleet in Pearl Harbor he began his new assignment to teach equal opportunity training classes for the Navy. In his last 10 years of his career in the Navy, Dad was transferred to the Naval Air Station Alameda, where the family relocated. And after a brief assignment on another supply ship, my father received orders to join the inaugural crew of the Navy's then U.S. Nimitz-class nuclear aircraft carrier, the USS Carl Vinson. On the Carl Vinson, Dad took charge of the Navy's ships, galleys, and the stores, and was deployed to a West Pacific tour where the fleet trained for combat operations in the British island ocean territory of Diego Garcia. Interestingly, during the later part of his tour on the Carl Vinson in 1985, he remembered that there was a film crew from the Paramount Studios aboard the flight deck taking footage of flight operations of the squadron of F-14 Tomcats. He later realized that that crew was taking shots for a movie that was released in 1986 called Top Gun. After his tour of duty in the USS Carl Vinson, Dad retired after 30 years of remarkable service to our nation. His service to his country and our country also came with other sacrifices, which he did not talk about. He suffered extended periods of separation from our family. He had to forego more comfortable civilian opportunities, better paying jobs, and a normal suburban life in pursuit of the American dream. He was placed into harm's way and participated in conflicts beneath our country's flag. And he did come back bearing the hidden scars that were both physical and psychological. He suffered disability and health problems for our country. These 30,000 men willingly faced these difficult conditions, but parlayed them into opportunities to build new lives here in the United States, to raise families and build communities, and like my father, to continue service in public life and industry. Like some of you here, I am the beneficiary of the sacrifices of this generation. It is important that their story is told. I suspect that many of you here who are veterans today also have similar stories today, and I would like you to please share them with us so that we understand the sacrifices that you made to serve our country. I know that you sacrificed a lot for our country. Like the veterans before you, you had to leave home, endure rigorous training with little sleep. Then you were deployed to a place that was foreign to you, or even a foreign country, to Iraq, Afghanistan, to Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Many of you joined the military after our country was attacked on September 11th, 2001. Like the veterans before you, if you've seen combat and witnessed the worst of humanity, we understand that you may have left a little of yourself where you served. You also brought back some horrors of your experience with you, horrors that you feel that you cannot share with your family or with us. In whatever state you're in, welcome home. We stand by you, we embrace you, we support you. You gave much more for your country than many of your neighbors. So please tell your stories so that the next generation will understand your sacrifices. Your service to our military is part of this structure that strengthens our nation's soul and preserves our way of life. Our military, the best military in the world, is the force that preserves liberty, freedom, and democracy. On behalf of a grateful community, thank you for your service. This is your day, and this former soldier salutes you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm James from Troop 86. This is Alex from Troop 81, and our troops are going to be performing a flag retirement ceremony today.
As Scouters, we are bound by the authority of USAL and by Boy Scouts of America policy regarding flag retirement. U.S. Flag Code simply reads, the flag, when it is in such condition that it is no longer a fitting emblem for display, should be destroyed in a dignified way, preferably by burning. The only recommendation, not policy, from BSA regarding flag retirements appears in the BSA publication Our Flag, which states, when the national flag is worn beyond repair, burn it thoroughly and completely on a modest but blazing fire. This should be done in a simple manner with dignity and respect. Be sure the flag is reduced to ashes, unrecognizable as a former flag.
Color guard. Oh. Give me that one. Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. That one up. Color guard, halt. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Scout hand salute. Color guard, present the colors. We are here today to honor the symbol of our country and retire a flag which has served its useful life as a symbol of freedom and our country.
I am your flag. I was born on June 14th, 1777. I am the emblem of America. I have flown through peace and war. I have always been respected. My red stripes symbolize the blood spilled in defense of this glorious nation. My white stripes, the burning tears shed by Americans who lost their sons in battle. My blue field represents God's heaven, under which I fly, and my stars clustered together unify the 50 states as one for God and country. When it comes the time when I am old and faded, do not let me fly in disrepair. Rather retire me from my duties, only to replace me with a new flag, so that I may continue to symbolize our country. With this, renew your commitment to what I stand for and pledge your allegiance to me one final time.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
As you can see, this banner of freedom before you is worn, tattered, and soiled from use and age. Her broad stripes are no longer a fiery red and pure white, but faded and worn out. The stars and blue background are no longer vivid reminders of our blue skies and great land, of the purity, vigilance, and justice she should represent. She has flown proudly over the years and has done her job well. But now she must be replaced with a new flag to properly represent this great nation of ours.
Scout salute. Color guard, retire the colors. Color guard, honor your colors. Two, color guard reform. Color guard about face. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard dismissed. Color guard, attention. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard prepare to present the colors. Yes, go. Scout hand salute. Color guard, present the colors. Color guard, retire the colors. Color guard, honor your colors. Two, color guard reform. Color guard about face. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard dismissed. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard prepare to present the colors. Scout hand salute. Color guard present the colors. Color guard, retire the colors. Color guard, honor your colors. Color guard reform. Two. Color guard about face. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard dismissed. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard prepare to present the colors. Scout hand salute. Color guard present the colors. Color guard retire the colors. Color guard, honor your colors. Two, color guard reform. Color guard about face. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard dismissed. Color guard forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Scout hand salute. Color guard, present the colors. Color guard, retire the colors. Color guard, honor your colors. Two, color guard reform. Color guard about face. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard dismissed. At ease. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of our participants for making this a special day, as they do every year. I'd particularly like to recognize Pinole Recreation Manager Maria Picasso and Pinole Public Works Director Joe Bingaman for their assistance in helping the Pinole Historical Society produce this event. And, as always, Pinole Community TV Manager Dave Snell and his crew, Eric Wilson, Andres Garcia Cruz, and Rachel Oller, for recording this event for broadcast on Pinole Community TV. Our station has been recording this event since its inception in 2008, and they're all on the Pinole Historical Society YouTube channel. So if you're feeling like getting a little patriotic, you don't want to wait for this event to be put on PCTV, you can go on our YouTube channel. You can watch last year's event, and the 2019 event, and the 2018 event, and so on and so forth. We'll see you again next year for the 15th Veterans Day Memorial and Flag Retirement Ceremony right here on Saturday, November 11th, 2023 at 11 a.m. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to all of you, and thank you to our veterans. Thank you.